But this year we're doing a little bit different. Instead of starting off with the OG games, we're actually going to start off with the SRT games. So be sure to follow us on Twitter, join the Discord, and I'll be posting the schedule or the link to the schedule in chat. And I'm going to hand it over to Nosttw, who's going to be running Spyro Reignited Trilogy, the first game, any percent, with Sable and Aether on commentary. And good luck, guys.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tuka. Right, you both ready? We all ready?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Right.
Okay. Right, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Big hype.
Very big.
So, welcome everyone to Spyrothon 2019. Again, as you all know, I'm Nosttw. We've got Aether and Sable here as well. And this is SRT 1 any percent on the PC, which is not the same as SRT 1 any percent on the console, but it is the same as what we would call any percent NBS, which NBS stands for No Balloonist Skip. Which, just to give a core context of what this runs about, it's very movement based. It's very there's not a lot of tricks in it. It's very core movement based. It's very good for practicing for if you wanted to try any of the other sort of categories within SRT. And yeah, I don't know how you two will look at this category as well, Aether and Sable, because I know back when I started this category, I saw you two were also running this as well. Right?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I was originally on 120, and then I'm like, I need a shorter category, so let's do this. Also, gotta compliment you there. Nice Nestor skip.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure the OG people are rolling.
Yes. Oh, I completely went past that goat though. Not a problem because he stands there on the way back as well. But yeah, Nestor skip's an interesting thing because I believe him and Magnus are both the two are like the only two dragons where you can like jump or like do a certain thing to skip them. And I entered a Gaddon from the wrong side, but that's fine. I could still exit level nice and fine. That's another thing I should also mention as well as a little bit of a comparison to the original, where in the original, freeing dragons at specific points is actually really crucial because if you got Spyro to free a dragon at a different point than what's like the most optimal point, then you have to basically sit through the whole cutscene for like a really, really long time. Whereas in Reignited, we don't have that. Spyro just likes to walk straight through the dragon because, you know, realism isn't a thing anymore. We're in the dragon realms, you know, everything's magical somewhat. And speaking of magical, we've got something coming up in a moment which is a bit magical, to say the least.
Every new runner to this category is heartfelt pain.
Yeah. So coming up here is our Neil's Fairy Proxy, or as dubbed by Chris and the gang over at GDQ, the Boop Scoop.
Ugh.
I could try and do it right. There we go. I've got the short scoop. It's nice and quick, that is. I would have done the big proxy, but I don't want to have everyone wait 10 seconds for Spyro to fall back down to Earth.
10 seconds. This is PC. You can get launched into space.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. And sometimes if you angle that in like the very wrong position, Spyro, instead of being sent to space, will get sent like completely out of the world and like sideways and like fall through the water. It's really weird.
So do we want to talk about what's kind of required for you to get out of Artisans?
Yeah. Do either of you two want to mention on that then?
Well, each balloonist sort of has a requirement for you to leave their world, and for artisans that should be 10 dragons collected, am I right?
Yeah. I've collected 11 because that one's easy. Because there's certain dragons a little later, which I'm not saying they're hard to get, they're just, when it comes to routing, like, you know, where routing's important, they're just too slow to get. And those two specifically, I think there's two, no, it's three, I'll be missing Ivor in Peacekeepers. Be missing Marco in Clifftown, and I'll also be missing my favorite boyo, which is Damon in Misty Bog. But then again, who needs to go through Guantan, am I right?
Also, look at this guy who actually knows the names of all the
I
dragons.
know. I've played this game way too many times, okay?
I'm pretty sure out of all of us, I don't know the dragon names because we've got Sable over here with 80 dragons.
Yeah. Oh, Sable, you need to know them all, right? For every 80 dragons.
I mean, I can neither confirm nor deny that I might do a bad job of knowing them all.
That Zakomo split, though.
But yeah, so basically, to leave Artisans, you need 10 dragons. And the main thing with any percent is basically to get the requirement for each homeworld and obviously leave as quick as you can. However, what's really crucial towards the later part of the game is you'll have a requirement which kind of requires us to still get dragons along the way, which would be Beastmakers. But if do either of you two want to mention about the other requirements for the later homeworlds as well?
I mean, I can do that. We're getting dragons along the way, as Nas said, so that we can hit the 50 dragon requirement for Beastmakers to go out of that world. But then to leave Peacekeepers, we're going to need 1,200 gems, and to leave Magic Crafters, we're going to need 5 dragon eggs. Plus the sort of culminating goal of the entire run. In order to leave Dreamweavers and confront Nasty, you're going to need 6,000 gems total. So throughout all of these worlds, Nos is going to be collecting sort of as many advantageous gems as he can to work toward that final 6,000.
Yep, and then Jack we sort of can use as a bit of a compensation level. I just need to hope I don't need to get anything more than 500. Because if that happens, then oopsie daisy, you know?
Yeah, you usually need something around like the low 300s, like 325 to like 360, right?
Yeah, that's like optimal routing for definite. Right, so now this level that's coming up here is Clifftown, which I think for any percent is probably where the difficulty jump, like, is shown, because you got a lot of tricks coming up now. Would you two consider this the hardest level in any percent, or would you say that there's a harder one later?
I'd say this is hard for newer runners, and
Yeah.
especially people who, at higher levels, when you start getting really trigger happy with that reset button. I had this
Yeah.
labeled as reset heaven in my splits for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that this can be a big hang-up, especially, as you said, with sort of newer runners, with just trying to hit that rocket and come down and get the thief before he disappears. But
Yeah.
I think I would still probably lean towards some of the later Beastmakers levels being a bit more unforgiving.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry. I managed to do the Trick Central bit, like, smooth. In practice, I've been struggling at that jump so many times, because of basically the frame rate I'm playing at. But, actually, Aether, can I get you to explain about the whole frame rate difference between Reignited? Because I bet that, we'll have in future runs, that probably popped up as well and explained as well. So you're doing 2, so you might want to explain a bit about that. Why I'm a little bit different and why.
Yeah, so the frame rate of this game, for some reason in the physics engine, ties jump, flutter, and hover height to your frames in a weird ratio. So the higher your frame rate, the lower your jumps and hovers, making tricks in 2 and 3 impossible or near so on 60 frames per second. It's optimal in 2 and 3 to run at 30 frames. 1 can run at 60 frames. There's not as much impeding you.
Other than
But-
one thing.
Yeah, there is a level where the cycles can break on 60 frames. So a lot of people will run on 50 frames, 30 frames, or they will run at uncapped with VSync on, which caps it artificially to whatever your monitor's refresh rate is.
That's generally how I run it at, with uncapped, with the VSync on. So it's basically running the refresh rate of my TV I'm playing on right now, which is at 60. However, wait when it gets to the cycles breaking, because there's a wall which is really important. If that one starts playing up, then my app would just bump down to 30 briefly. And this is the very first flight we'll have to do in any percent. Now, Sable, you are our flight mistress within this call right now. So would you like to go on about explaining about how the flights are going around?
Sure. Well, flights are a great opportunity to gather a lot of gems very quickly, which is why they're included in an any percent. But you can see that Nosttw is sort of doing a few movement tactics to get his way through the level faster. Spyro will drop faster if you charge than he will if you dive. And see, like there, he will drop through that arch to turn quicker. So we have a lot of movement exploits that help to finish these levels more quickly. Another thing that Nosttw did there was at the very end, he sort of bonked Spyro into that lighthouse, which cut the animation of Spyro flying up into the air shorter, and he was able to leave the level faster.
Yeah, and for loadless, that's actually really crucial, because that takes into account the timing for that. Whereas if you're just running against in-game time, then obviously that also takes into account, cuts it off. But for real time, it's not that important. Which actually, we should also mention about the 3 different timers that are used to time Reignite Trilogy. As I'll mention first about real time. Now, the real timer is what everyone is looking at on the screen right now, which is ticking underneath or right next to the category name. And real time is mainly really important for obviously everyone who likes to watch marathons, because you want to see how quick the game can be done in front of everyone. But the main issue that you have got, though, especially within Reignite Trilogy, is your load times, which sometimes, especially back when we started playing on the consoles, where load times used to take such a long time, we want to try and skip them as much. Well, not exactly skip them, but try and not really take them much into account when it comes to real time. And then you've got 2 other timers. I'll let you two to be able to explain what those 2 are.
So the timer that is most important for PC runs of the game is going to be the loadless timer. This is as far as I understand it, it's a memory-based load remover. So the game time stops ticking when the game itself is recognizing that it is loading. When it's not loading, the timer is ticking up, and this helps equalize players who are running on different types of PCs. If you're running on a low-quality PC, your loads might be much longer because your processor is doing more work. Whereas if someone is playing on the Gamer God rig, it's an unfair advantage to spend thousands of dollars more to be quote-unquote better. So that's why loadless is the proper one used for PC leaderboard time.
Yeah.
And the other timer that we have is the in-game timer, which you can view in your guidebook. That will not take into account things like loading screens when you're talking to dragons. That is also not counted in in-game time. As far as I understand, in-game time is when you are in control of Spyro.
Yeah. But the only problem is with in-game time is there is a lot of weird inconsistencies that it has, which makes it a bit unreliable. Like, for example, it can again, when it counts, like, it doesn't count in dragon times. However, I know with loadless it does, and obviously in-game time it also doesn't count things like when you do have like skips as well. There's also some really frame determined stuff as well, which is really crucial, because I think that's... Oh, crikey, what happened there? Sorry. My magic stairs wasn't being magic for a brief moment. But yeah, basically, in-game timer is what's used to time the console leaderboards. That's also obviously quite helpful when you're putting it between different consoles. But again, when it comes to reliability, loadless is perhaps the best thing I think we've got so far.
Hmm. Funny enough, there's actually in the first level of the Magic Crafters homeworld, there's a slight in-game time exploit that can be done to watch the dragon cutscene a little bit longer to wait on ideal cycles. It usually saves 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So a lot of console routes are based on manipulating that in-game timer to be as little as possible.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the cycles in Alpine Ridge?
Yeah.
Actually, a good example as well of the IGT manipulation, I'd say as well, is Icy Flight. I'll get to that later, but there is I think that for a PC loadless, it needs to be rerouted to add in an animation skip, because I don't involve an animation skip in it. Because I try and go by the quickest in-game time, which is console routing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you'll basically see what I mean by that a little later. Now, I don't know if everyone's noticed that I've managed to quickly get 2 thieves, well, 3 thieves already so far, really, really quickly, and I've got 2 more that I still need to get later on in this level. Now, that's very crucial based on the animation skip that can happen. Now, if I didn't get Spyro to basically jump before flaming the thief, I had to sit through this whole animation of the egg going to obviously getting picked up by Spyro, which obviously for real time takes about 4 seconds. Which obviously this is a speed run. We want to go as quick as we can. So make sure to try and skip those animations as quick as we can. Which, compared to the OG, in the originals, originals had this, well, they could just skip it by pressing a button. It's a shame they didn't reignite, we don't have that.
Yeah, we actually have to move interestingly. It's actually kind of funny that in the thief animation skips are very similar to how we perform the animation skips for Nosttw and for Magnus, the Final Dragon. It's all about having directional momentum.
Yeah.
If Spyro's touching the ground, you're going to get that animation, so you're not going to be able to skip Nosttw. You can't skip the dragon eggs, etc. But if you have momentum... Oh, did you get the FPS lock?
Yeah, I did.
Perfect to show off in a marathon. That door doesn't open sometimes.
It happens, it happens. I had to do it in the GDQ hotfix as well, so it's not like I'm doing anything that I'm not used to. That's fine though.
How did that cycle not go that time? I was sure it was.
Oh yeah, that was because I turned it back to 60.
Ah.
See, now that's frame rate manipulation there.
And all of this, of course, is unique to the PC version.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more differences in Spyro 2 and 3 in some of the routing for PC versus console. A lot of the routing is still very much the same, save for certain endgame things in Spyro 1.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Nice menuing.
Man, we are just blasting through here.
Yeah.
Got 1,800 treasure. 3 dragons. Man.
Now, this thief that I've just missed, as some of you might have seen on forums, you get that thief, it's literally before your eyes. Now, that thief is technically our backup thief. Say if I forgot to get an egg or missed an egg earlier on in the run, I'd have to make sure to be able to do another animation skip and slip that thief along the way, which is quite handy actually. And back in early days of routing this category, that thief was actually used. But now again don't really need it unless you're doing 120, which I believe LKJ will be doing later on during the marathon. Right, so now we've got high caves where cycles are pretty important sometimes.
Yeah, you gonna make this god cycle?
I hope.
Also, yes, we have returned from a Robo Nost.
Robo me? What do you mean?
We had a little bit of audio issues.
Oh no.
We heard what you were saying, but you were definitely some kind of Spyro playing android.
Aether, you're exposing me. How dare you? That's what I really am, man. It's just an actor, is what people see. Nah, my computer is a bit of a... It's a bit of a potato, sadly. But hopefully you
Potato?
can hear me at the moment.
Stick him in a stew?
Could do. Be a little bit tastier.
Also, I gotta say, I love the level exit on this level. It just, hey, get some gems right here, we're done.
Yeah.
There's no significance. Most other levels end on like a dragon, end on an egg. This one's like, I'm gonna end on these 2 1 gems and a 2 gem. Bye.
Right, coming up here, we've got Wizard Peak next. I'm gonna try and see if I can get this nice little momentum trip I get getting this thing.
Show it off as a preview.
Nice.
Kaboom.
Yeah, nice.
Slowing down supercharge is actually a really key strat in a couple of places. We're going to see if we can get it here at Lucas Hill.
Yeah. This is probably the worst trick within any percent. Or one of the worst. I think it's quite hard.
I think it's the worst for at least PC version.
Yeah.
See Nos going through this level fast enough that some of these enemies are still appearing while he's already flaming them.
Yeah. Their hitbox exists, but you know, their physical asset isn't a thing yet. Their graphical asset.
Alright, so let's get the sneakiest thief.
Sneaky, but very easy.
Yeah.
Dead.
And death warps.
Right, now here comes Lucas Hill.
Everyone pray for Lucas Hill.
Oh no. Oh. Well, I got Lucas Hill, but I didn't get the chest that I wanted to get. Oh wow! Wow!
Ooh.
I still held that supercharge where I didn't think I would be.
And that's 5 dragon eggs.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I won't get that 25 gem because as much as I think I should have got back and get that, I think I'm quite confident with the amount of gems I've got at the moment.
Yeah, what's your count? Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, we'll wait until Jacques.
Yeah, you should still be around maybe 400 for Jacques at most.
Yeah. One thing I'm also another thing I'm a little bit scared about as well is I'm currently at green sparks at the moment. Now blowhard I generally try and go in with blue sparks because I think the hardest enemies or probably the most buffed enemies in this game is those green wizards that shoot out lightning.
You mean the ones that make me cry every time I run this game?
Yeah, they make me cry all the time as well, mate. Right, so here we are with Crystal Flight.
Hey, new runners, appreciate those planes. They appreciate you.
Yeah. Trust me, it's the reason why I want to be running SRT over OG.
It's a kiss in the water.
I'll be kissing it even closer in Wild Flight, which is my notoriously worst flight. And hopefully I won't be ruining it a little bit later.
I don't know, if you ruin any of the flights, we'll just have to send you back to flight school with Sable.
Yeah.
Come back to me. And of course, Nost's work there in Crystal Flight was quite excellent. And the assets in a flight level will spawn slightly differently the first time that you enter, and that is more advantageous in specifically Crystal Flight. The planes will be a little bit closer to you, so for him to do that on the first try helped to save him even some extra time.
We also just had another one of those wizard cycles not working. Thank you, FPS manipulation.
I also love that. How many gems do we skip in this level? 12? Just 12 in Blowhard?
Just 12, yeah. You had, was it 2 right at the very end? And there's like...
The 10 along the side to the inside.
Yeah, that's true.
It's one of the levels where you actually get the most gems, because they're just all along a singular path, save for very few. Oh, you do the bonk there.
Yeah, I do.
Man.
I play dangerous.
Sacrificing sparks to anything that's not a green wizard in this level is dangerous.
Yeah. To be fair, this level, I think you can afford losing sparks right towards the end. It's just making sure you get the blowhard cycle quick enough. Oh, hey, I've not had that optimal platform in a while. But yeah, you get so many gems in this level. It's so nice. It's like one of the times where the bosses actually is very, very crucial to do within any extent. Should have my live split open. I bet I've had a gold or 2 at least this run.
And very nice. We're done with Magic Crafters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gem count is fine.
I mean, you're, what, 5 under or so? What is technically supposed to be the goal?
If even.
Yeah, if even. So going into Beastmakers, it's going to be continuing to aim for those 6,000 gems, but also aiming for 50 dragons. We're already quite close, I feel, in order to leave the world.
And basically from now on, you'll notice as well that thieves will no longer carry eggs, because we don't really need eggs anymore from now on. They will only hold either gems or keys, but then the keys we'll obviously see a lot later. Now, Terrace Village. Oh, this is an interesting level. Terrace Village is also one of those levels where cycles are very, very dependent. Very, very crucial. I've only recently managed to get these platforms about, like, within one full sweep without getting touched by any of them. But this is definitely the point where you start seeing the difficulty will start ramping up when it comes to platforming.
And the enemies are far more aggressive.
Yeah, and I'll also try during this level as well to get sparks back up to yellow, because it's very crucial for me to get sparks back up to yellow before I leave the level.
Also, interestingly, thematically, a lot of the first intended levels in Homeworld are going to be very full of fodder for sparks to pick up, whereas the later on levels, and frequently the boss levels, have 1, 2, or almost no fodder at all.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, didn't think I was gonna get that going. Didn't think I'll get that going either. Just gonna play it safe from now.
That's a nice one. That's a little bit of a hard cycle to get. The guy up the stairs, that is a very tight cycle.
Oh, I just got a blue butterfly.
Beautiful.
Which is nice, but then I also just got hit just before I left.
I mean, there's the fodder right next to the dragon. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
So more damage abuse strats in the homeworld coming up.
Yep. I believe this is also featured as well within 2 any% as well, which I believe Cameron will be doing next. Oh, I got a little bit of camera spin there. That's quite nice.
Whoa. So it's a funny difference between the original games and this game that when you charge the firework chests, all of the gems actually home in on you in Reignited Trilogy, whereas in the original games they just spit out still. So damage abusing is really relevant in Reignited, especially with anything that explodes. It costs you 1 sparks, but all the gems home in. It's very frequently handy.
Yeah. And generally, if you follow along this route, sparks would generally come up to yellow anyway. And say if I were to die within wild flight, dying in a fly will also automatically bring sparks up to yellow, which is quite nice. But then again, if you want to do flight quick, especially within wild flight, and I think everyone can see why this is a bit of a difficult flight. Sable, do you want to explain why?
Well, wild flight just requires you to be dangerously close to the water all the time, super tight turns. The hitboxes on a lot of the obstacles, the chests, the boats, planes, which is basically everything in the level, all of them are pretty unforgiving, and it all just kind of conglomerates into this awful flight level.
Yeah.
Like that corner coming into those tunnels tends to sort of push you away. Everything is just sort of yucky here. Mm-hmm.
It was good timing though, 48.1.
Yeah, better time than I've ever gotten on that.
Right, freeing Cletus. And then we'll be heading into Misty Bog. Now, Misty Bog,
Who loves Misty Bog?
oh, it's not a fan favorite.
I don't know. We usually get some Shempum Bogs in chat. There it is.
Yeah, let's get all of those. Let's get all those emotes in the chat. There's Shemp Bog.
Though in any percent, there's a certain horrifying part of the level that you can just ignore.
Oh yeah, that's thankful. It's the reason why we don't get Damon. Also, doing this end of level skip here. Big shoutouts to OG Vortex. And then basically and get all the gems along here and then start getting all the dragons from this point onwards, because I can completely forget about, you know, doing Guantan. Come on, Spyro. Thank you.
Another funny thing about this game is, instead of pivots, we have Spyro running very close along chests without breaking them for some reason, even though sometimes when you juke hard to one side, you can be only sort of near something and break it. We're not sure about the physics. It's kind of wonky.
It's something I've noticed is a bit more discreet as well within PC version, and that's personally what I think is down to, you know, how the movement data is sort of quicker across on the PC compared to on the console. Because bear in mind with console, you've got those controllers are wireless, aren't they?
I don't know, I wire my controllers for everything.
Yeah, I do as well, but sometimes I think with the whole consoles, I don't know if they listen to that.
Lesson learned, kids. Wire your controllers.
Yeah, especially if you want to speedrun.
If I wire my controller, I don't have anything to blame my bad performance on.
Oh.
You have glitches, you're fine.
Yeah. Right, and then you end off this level at Zeke here, because, yeah, say goodbye to Guantan. Who needs Guantan?
And how many dragons does that bring us to?
Oh, wow. Faulty saying apparently the the Bluetooth wireless is lower, latency is lower than on the USB. I don't know my stuff clearly. It's also like 20. Right.
20
I don't
microseconds.
know. There's clearly some weird thing between consoles and PC that this game sort of has a feeling about, you know.
1/500th of a frame. That's terrifying.
Wow, that is terrifying.
All right, so you gonna get keyless this time?
Oh boy, you know I will. Right, so this is Treetops. Treetops has our good old speedrun, our supercharged strats, which I believe were dubbed the Troublesome 2. Troublesome 1 is getting to Jed, nice and quick, and Troublesome 2 is our good old Stone Knot replacement. But I would also slip in another keyless trick because I like to open up key chests without the key. Right, so this is Troublesome 1. I'm around here. Oh no! Oh no! What is this? Shocking.
This is I don't know, reset right now.
Yeah, reset territory. Dearie me. Nah, it's fine. Still got it second try. Just means if I got there quick enough, I could have sniped the thief before he starts running, but it's fine. Reset, to be honest. Start the stream over. Uh-oh. Reset Spyrothon right from the first run. Right, so here we go. We're gonna try keyless now. So this is also another example of hogging the wall a little bit to try and manipulate that supercharge. Showing
Beautiful.
showing that sometimes these walls just have no collision whatsoever. I might even try it as well coming up to this bit, because you can also try it for here.
Oh, if you
Which I actually did. Wow.
So there is a way to get a continuous supercharge from all the way before through this ramp, so you don't even need to do that cute little turnaround.
Yeah.
But it is incredibly precise. I think I've seen it done once, and I think I saw it was you. I think Sable, you did it
Hey?
during an any percent run, getting the full supercharge from the dragon.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's an absolutely terrifying piece of tech.
Yeah. It's very risky. But when you get it, it's like, you know, Craigasm on that.
You know, I honestly think that I got it because I just sucked so bad at that turnabout thing that you just did. So.
Confronting Metalhead. I always like that it said confronting instead of entering for the bosses.
Right, so Metalhead is well, he's not as cool as Shemp in my book. But sometimes this is down to how the pylons act, really. Because if the pylons are kind of nice, they get a nice cycle, a nice route, and then generally you can kind of do Metalhead without getting hit.
And I think Metalhead's a little easy. I think sometimes I would require additional pylons. I take your silence as you hate me. Thank you.
And then I get to do this nice, sweep go. See, this is one thing also like about Reignited, is because Spyro's flame is continuous over over a short amount of time. Because his movement is also very fluid, you can get him to like sweep his flame and then like kill enemies rather quickly, which is quite nice.
Also, there it is, Sadiki. Dragon number 50.
Don't need him anymore. And actually, one thing that's nice about Metalhead is he does clumsily throw all of these, you know, monkey dudes into the pylons, which actually makes it a lot more easier for me.
He'll also fire lasers into the pylons, which is
That's true as well. Which actually
spicy.
you can try and manipulate him to do that at this moment behind the waterfall. If you get Spyro to go down at certain
Go
bit,
for it.
like that. There we go.
Beautiful.
Oh, well that was very close, but just do that anyway.
Oh no, now you don't get the skill point. Crying forever.
Who needs lives though in SRT? If you want to have life dependency within speedrunning, run OG 120.
I'll pass on the CSGO.
CSGO, oh yeah. Good old CSGO.
Even though Nosttw has finished collecting the dragons that are going to be required to leave Beastmakers, he's going to do I imagine, a quick little run around the home world here for a minute to accomplish a little bit more toward the 6,000 gem count we need.
Just to make Jacques a little bit easier of a route. Bear in mind, I did forget that 25 gem in Magic Crafters. This is very important right now.
And a fun thing in any percent really does not appreciate Dreamweavers as a homeworld.
No, not at all. Dreamweavers, what's that?
A flight and half a boss level.
Yeah. Haunted Towers, Dark Passage, Lofty Castle. Those levels exist, Henlo.
I don't know, Nosttw, are you ready to go?
Are you ready to go? Yeah, so basically you can also get these audio glitches with these guys purely because if you free them quick enough, they audio just layers over twice. Echo balloonists indeed. I've only just turned my speaker on as well, so now I can actually hear the game. I haven't been listening the whole time.
I don't know, I think the balloonists are cursed. Every time I make fun of them during a run, I'll say something like, are you ready to die? And then I take a needless death.
Right, I'm also going to try and attempt triple input here. Who would like to see this?
Boy. I'm scared. Hold me.
Right, here we go. Okay, I think that's double input, it's not triple. That's a shame. Basically, what I was trying to do there is I was trying to use both my keyboard and my controller to get Spyro to turn that cannon really fast. Because on the PC version, you can layer up, on the cannons, you can layer up your inputs so Spyro can turn the cannon faster. It's really fun.
Get a foot pedal, you can do quad input.
Yeah, well, you can get quad input by probably using both hands and using both pinky fingers. Right, so... Oh, crikey.
Apparently your crab hand is evolving.
Yeah. So, I need 359 gems within Jacques, which is not terrible, it's not the quickest, but...
It's on the high end. I think the perfect ideal route is 335.
Yeah. So if I did get that 25 gem, that would have been luscious, but sadly it didn't happen within this marathon.
Well, you would have been one gem over. This flight is very, very scary.
Yeah.
And Wild are definitely, I think, the flights that challenge the greatest number of people. You'll see that Nosttw keeps diving towards the water. The closer Spyro is to the water, the faster he goes.
Yeah.
Which is really important for catching cycles in like this and Wild Flight,
Right.
which are incredibly cycle dependent.
This bit that I just did here, you'll see, I've got sub 1 minute on the in-game timer. However, if I was doing that loadless, so if I was, recording my time for the PC, I would have wasted about 3 to 4 seconds just having that animation go all the way up. But if that was on console, that would have been absolutely amazing time save. Right, so here we go. This is Jacques. Now, again, like also in any percent on the original, this is what we can call our compensation level. So I need to do a bit of quick mental maths, 359 gems to get to 6,000, and then from then onwards, it's all about toasting nasty Nork's buttocks. All it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do a slight bit of a gem route, just an additional one. Whoops. Didn't actually jump off that correctly. Wow.
Well, you do that, it might be good to start explaining what's going to go on in Nasty's world.
Yes. So within Nasty's world, there is all what I would need to do is open up all of the dragon heads to get to Nasty, and obviously get to Nasty and flame him. By doing that, I have to free Delvin, which is at the very beginning of Nasty's world, and then I have to get to the Vortex on both Twilight Harbor and North Cove. And to do that, I'm going to do an end of level skip for North Cove, which is PC exclusive, may I say. And for Twilight Harbor, I'm going to try and see if I'm going to do a little bit of supercharge to get to the very end. Right. Yeah, I'm comfortably on gem count there. I think I'm over by like 10 gems, I think. And also, what's this I'm doing here, Aether?
Oh, hey, look at that whirlwind. Oh, that floor is so solid.
Yeah. So solid. I wish I could clip like that in real life. And there we go, that's Jacques done.
You know, I'm surprised for PC you don't exit through the vortex there.
No.
Like he stops the timer a little earlier.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's news to me. Is that like a minuscule quicker though?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you said the balloonist's a cursed, Aether.
Yeah.
But I mentioned something that's a little bit more cursed. That balloonist is the current voice actor for Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay, definitely cursed.
Yeah, most cursed.
Alright, so leftover objectives. Free a dragon, go through 2 vortexes, and flame Nasty's booty.
Yeah. So coming up in Norco, we've got a bit of a PC exclusive trick. Now, I've been trying to practice this so much, and I'm hoping I could try and get it first try. Because yeah, like I see loads of people get this really easily, and I'm like the only one that's like it takes like loads of time to do. So basically, now if to all of you OG runners, you may remember the trick TN Teamwork, which was the end of level trick to get to proxy Spyro up to get him to get to the wall, and then go to the vortex. Now in Reignited, in the PC version, which makes me think that the developers have actually been listening to us, funnily enough. I kind of have a feeling. Why am I saying that? So basically, it's now been replaced with a wall glide, which is this wall glide right here. I'll try and do it. Oh yeah, am I doing a world record on stream right now?
You might.
Beautiful.
First try, oh boy. I definitely want to double check my in-game time after this, because I have a feeling this is going to be pushing into either low 29 or 28.
Could not have just spent more than, 15 seconds in that level, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, back in the original, not in the original days, but back when we used to run this on console, because that wall glide was not a thing, you'd have to basically run through the entire level without getting hit.
Oh, it was a misery.
Yeah. We were demanding for an end of level skip. And finally we got it.
Also, can I say that I think in this run, Twilight Harbor is my favorite level. Just due to this dragon skip.
Yes.
Over here. The supercharge trick. Everyone keep your eyes out. This is probably one of the most fun things.
Yes.
And it's actually not that hard to learn, so it's pretty approachable for new runners.
Yeah. This is like so rewarding to do near an end of the run. So fun. Just whatever you do, do not miss that vortex. I've done that once, and it was soul destroying because it was a PB run. Right, and here we go. Over to Nasty Nork. So with Nasty, again, you just got those 2 thieves with the keys, and then you just get around, flame Nasty once, and then get to the end, flame Nasty, and then that is your any percent done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and see if I can get these thieves quick, because so much 120 learning is, been stopping me from getting these guys quick. Like everyone's missing Cletus. Yeah, Aether, this trick you found for everyone, you ripped Cletus, man.
Hey, I didn't find that trick.
Who did?
I don't know. I actually saw it in runs when I was learning it, but like I found a way that makes it precise for me, which is hopping over the wing like that.
Right, there we go. There's 2 quick thieves there. Now it's time for Nasty. Nasty Nork, Nosttw Nork.
And in SRT, notice he did not skip leg day.
He did
booking
not.
it. He learned 20 years later. He learned.
Yeah. It's what makes for 120 actually. It makes one cycling him a lot harder. Right. Heads up to the marathon. So this is the Phoenix and 2 and etc. Time is coming up when I flame Nasty. Oops. Right, so that is time.
GG.
Yeah.
Nice run.
Right, I'm gonna quickly double check my in-game time just because I want to double check if this is actually a really decent run.
Also, funny thing for timing, for those running on PC, a valid run needs to go through this and then open the guidebook to show the in-game time.
No way. No way. 28:38. That's a PB and potentially world record for PC. Wow.
Congrats,
incredible.
Dude.
Congratulations.
Thank you. There we go. So everyone, that is it. You've basically just experienced a world record that I did not time through loadless. So I'm probably going to have to go through and redo all this all over again. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching the any percent Spyro1 SRT. Thank you, Aether and Sable, for being awesome co-hosts. You've been absolute gems this run.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you, everyone in the chat, for watching. This has been, again, it's an absolute pleasure. Sable will also be running 80 Dragons on the console later on in the marathon. Aether will be running 40 Orb SRT2, racing with Zik3 and EasyScape. I'll also probably give you a brief moment to allow you two to obviously say what else you do as well on your streams. So go ahead.
Crying myself into 120 lately.
So Sable, what else do you speedrun as well? Because I know that you speedrun some other games as well.
It varies. Right now, focusing a lot on Spyro, but I also do The Last Guardian. And of course, if you come over to watch me for Spyro, you'll see lots of flight levels.
Yeah. And obviously Aether has currently been doing a lot of 120, but now you're going to be showing us a lot more of that 40-hour magic a little bit later.
Boy.
And with me, again, I just do a lot of SRT 1 any percent. I've been dying to learn the other categories. I've just hardly had much time to. So yeah, I think I'd say that's it for the rest of us. Next up will be Cameron, who will be doing SRT 2 any percent. He'll be showing you some nice tricks and some awesome magic, I suppose, from the game. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. And enjoy the rest of the marathon.